Hey, 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 people. It's Friday. Welcome to Beards on the Street. I'm Perry Ward.
That's Aaron Pearson.
That cat sitting right there is Mr. Aaron Pearson. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to our show. We appreciate you watching in and checking us out. If you haven't already, make sure you go to the YouTube page and subscribe. We like subscribers.
It's getting hot in here already.
And open the door.
I think it feels good.
Probably.
I'm like,
If you're anything like my wife, she's always freezing and I'm always hot.
Dean's talking to our new guest today, Kara Ragsdale.
Hi.
And,
Hi, Kara.
I forgot my beard today. Sorry.
It's just fine. I don't think it would. I don't think it would look that great.
It doesn't go with my outfit.
No,
No.
no. I know. What a funny name for our show, huh? But it's kind of fitting, I'd say.
It is kind of fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, Aaron actually came up with that, and we were just kicking around a bunch of different ideas, and he came up with that Beards on the Street, and I was like, dude,
That's it.
that's it. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You betcha. We're excited to have you here. We're just gonna kind of just talk about stuff, life, maybe a charity that you started that's pretty near and dear to your heart, and just what's going on.
Anybody who's been through it, I think it's near and dear to and would be appreciated. So I think it's
I do too.
going to be good to talk about.
Yeah, it's been well received.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really cool is our mixer. We're tied in with a group called the Single Parent Project because of my stepson. He last year came here to Utah. He was living in Kansas. He's a big runner, and he came here to Utah and actually ran for 24 hours straight around a park.
Does he
24 hours.
Does he still have his plan he's building or working?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then in 2026, he's going to run from Seattle to Miami.
3,600 miles.
Yep.
Right.
That's impressive.
And it's going to be supporting the Single Parent Project. But so similar kind of an idea. So we're into finding local charities that matter and are impactful. So,
And what's really cool is the reason he chose them for his charity to help him accomplish these things is because his mom raised him as a single parent, and this is his way of giving back to his mom and basically telling her, "You matter and you're way important." It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
they have scholarships. They have other support stuff that they'll do for because sometimes you get backed into a corner and that's some support you need to
Yeah.
be able to make ends meet and things like that.
Well,
So
someday that'd be cool if we can get to that point too.
Oh, you will. I have no doubt in my mind.
Just a little baby right now.
you know
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I think it's all about collaborating and just watching and seeing what can be done with it because there is some strength and reach with the crowds. That's really cool.
Matter of fact, we have a gal that just joined our team that is a big part of that as well. But it started out where she was actually one of the women that was helped, and so really
Was she
cool.
the first scholarship or something like
I
that?
think she was. Really neat gal.
And obviously she's now an advocate.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So talk to us about it. Talk to us about, here, I'm going to bring it up so everybody can see. It's called Hive of Hope. They can all see that right
Actually,
now.
let's have Kara introduce herself. Who are you?
Yeah, we probably should do that. Who the hell are you?
Nobody cares.
Whatever, we care.
So my name is Kara. I'm born and raised here in Utah. Lived in some different places, but Utah's definitely home and always came back. I've been in real estate here in Utah for 7 years. I love it. It's always something different and new, and you get to meet different people and figure things out and find solutions, and that's my jam.
Love it.
Brings
So-
out the best of you, your creativity, huh? And your
Yeah.
troubleshooting and your skills. It's cool.
Yeah, and teaches you patience.
Yes, it can.
So I have an almost 3-year-old son. I have a 5-year-old German short-haired pointer dog who's like a toddler. And I recently started Hive of Hope with a friend of mine, Kara Steele, and it is a support group for single parents. It's just something idea that popped into my head, and it didn't go away. And I talked to Kara. She's like, "I'm in. Let's do this." And then I started asking single parents I know, like, "Hey, I have this idea. What do you think?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." And I had
Nice.
yeah. And then just collaborating with different people. They're like, I want in, I'll come present. What do you want? What do you need? Use my office. Like, it's just been so well received. It's awesome and really energizing. It's been quite an interesting group of people. Like, they're from all different walks of life. I've got men and women that come regularly, which is pretty awesome, I think.
So is it like a weekly or bi-weekly, monthly? Talk a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, so I have a Facebook group, which I haven't been as active as I intended to be, but that was supposed to be a place of, collaboration and connection.
You bet.
And then we have a monthly meetup. I think in my short experience in being a single parent, it's the lack of support or lack of feeling like you have support, feeling alone.
Right.
And you're not alone in this. There's a lot of people that are in the same situation, and every scenario is different, right? Every story is different. Everybody's in a different stage in where they're in this walk, but there's some underlying challenges that are pretty consistent. So that's the goal. So every month we have a meetup in person at my office in Draper, and we have a different guest speaker. Our first month.
Very cool.
Yeah, first month, my friend Shannon came in and she did the entire session of breath work, which I have never done before. That was pretty.
I love it.
He's a big fan.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat.
He hasn't drugged me out to that side of the world yet.
Yes, you did.
I haven't done breath work.
Then what did you come to Matt with me with?
That was a yoga thing, dude.
Oh.
Wasn't it? I don't think that was breath
I
work.
think it was breath work, dude.
Was it?
You've done breath work.
I don't think so. I think it was yoga.
I was on a hike this summer with a good friend of mine, and she said, you should try that. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm not meditating. I'm not doing breath work. Like, that's too hokey pokey for me.
Right.
And then I did it at this first meeting, and it's pretty cool what your body does.
Wow.
Like, like tears were just coming out of my eyes, and I'm like,
What's going on here?
yeah. Well, at first it was what's going on here, and then I was looking around like, oh, who's going to see me?
Right.
Almost everybody was crying.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me. And it just like that's cool. That means
That is cool.
your body is holding some things that it's not supposed to.
Yes.
Let it out.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So Shannon is part of our group, and at the end of every session, she does a couple minutes of guided breath work, and I think that alone is a reason to come.
Of course it is.
But we have a different guest speaker every month. Financial planner. We had a life coach last month. I've got a therapist coming here in February. In March is actually a comedian, which I'm really excited about.
Is it somebody local?
The comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Marcus from Marcus and Guy.
I don't know him.
I do.
I've got a buddy that
Man of
does
1,000 voices.
Yeah. I got a buddy that does hypnotism. I should put you in touch with him.
Yeah, I want everybody. I just think like let's just get the most exposure to different things that we can that can be helpful. Marcus, stand-up comedian, he does some other things too, but he's gonna come. It's so much about connection, right, in our lives.
Right.
Like not even if you're just going through a hard thing, but just connection, like in business and whatever. So he's going to come and he describes like that's what I do in comedy. I connect with an audience. I have to keep them engaged. Like let me show you guys how to do that in real life.
Love
so
it.
I'm excited for that one. So
Heck
March
yeah.
is going to be fun.
Does he
You
bring
need
his partner?
to.
I don't know.
You should invite your group to come to one of our mixers. Seriously.
I will.
I've been inviting her out.
Yeah. Well, make it a thing where you on point you invite anybody and everybody from your group that if they want to come out, and it's so low key, and we do hold them at bars, but it's not about drinking. It's just about having a space that everybody can get together and you meet new people, and seriously, magic happens.
Well, there's a good portion of us that are self-employed, and they're always looking for opportunities to network.
Absolutely, and this is it.
You guys do the third Thursday, is that right?
Second Thursday of
Second
every
Thursday.
month. So
I do the second Tuesday.
oh.
Yeah.
There you go. So our one in February, and we'll make sure we get you some eye candy that you can give out to everybody. But our next one is on the 13th of February. So, and we're doing it at Legends.
Yep.
Yep,
Off
Legends,
104
right
on
off of
the freeway.
what is it, 106 South, just right there, just off the
Where
freeway.
Iggy's used to be off the freeway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very
Yeah, and
cool.
it's just, it's just a bunch of really, really, I mean, obviously it's part of our VIP 50 and how we run that. It's one of our things that we started for that, but it's turned into way more than that. It's, we have our regular people that come all the time, every single month, and then there's just a plethora of other people that just come. And we had a lady show up one time because he had posted on Facebook a really emotional posting, and she showed up just for the simple fact she had saw him, and he invited people to come out. If you're lonely and this, that, and the other, just come.
And I think that's hard for people to do.
It is hard
to reach out for connection, but I think connection is so important.
Yeah.
You were referring to that in your group you're doing, and there's, when you're going through a breakup, there's the embarrassment, the shame, you feel alone, you feel isolated, and you create the isolation.
The pure terror.
Mm-hmm.
Even not going through a breakup, like I know there's times in my relationship I found myself kind of isolating.
Yep. Yeah,
You don't want to explain what's going on. You don't want anybody's input on what's going on. You feel bad about it. You feel like you failed somehow. Then and then you just pull away, pull back, and then you feel alone. And then no one's looking for you. And even that feels more isolating.
right. It's a vicious circle. Let's just put it that way. It's a very
it's
vicious
a downward
circle.
spiral.
I have an amazing group of friends that are super supportive,
Good.
and sometimes you still feel alone.
Right.
So imagine people that maybe don't have that level of
Right.
support and those levels of friendships. I mean, that I've had for 20-something years, right? So I'm very fortunate that way, but it still gets lonely.
Well, please do make them feel welcome, and we would love to have them. And again, there's no agenda. There's no, it's Aaron and
We're
I.
not talking real estate. We're not.
Yeah,
It's social.
It's a social, just meet new people and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And you're gonna be drawn towards some people, and it's amazing. We talk about this all the time. We had a gentleman that showed up, and another guy that showed up, didn't know each other at all. The one guy
Or the mixer.
for the mixer. The one guy had been trying to get this program off the ground level that helps PTSD for vets, and could just never get it funded, could never get it off the ground. Those two hooked up, ended up funding his whole program, and it's up and kicking ass.
That's awesome.
Just stuff like that. That's when I say magic, I mean magic. New friendships, new sources, new whatever.
We had a gal who was kind of throwing her hands in the air just here in Salt Lake.
She was ready to leave the state. She was out.
Planning her exodus, going to South Carolina, and it's been cool. Like we've got concert groups. We have, there are other social stuff that people have kind of clicked together through this, and it's just given a platform to go be social and have some friends.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
So,
And I think that's kind of the basis of Hive of Hope.
Yeah.
It's a safe place for people to come and connect. And we don't talk about our stories. We don't talk about the
No.
background. We don't talk about why we're here. We're here and we're just learning
Yeah.
new tools to help us move forward.
love it. We'd
Really
love
cool.
to get involved in any way that looks like. That's what we're all about. We always tie our mixer to a charity of some sort. So there's a driving force behind what we're doing and why we do it. So at some point here soon, I'm sure that we'll support you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And good for you guys for putting that together.
You know what? We kind of talked about this a little bit off air in my office, but when you make that switch in your life to being giving instead of taking, or instead of expecting, it's a big shift. And man, good stuff happens when you put yourself out there to just be a giving person.
I think when you take the mantle of being a creator and being at power, which you are, you're occupying a space and an energy, and it's attractive, and it more opportunity, more, all of it, just the synergy, just which you described.
Yeah.
So kudos
feeling
to
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yep, it's exciting.
So talk to me a little bit about your real estate business, whatever you want to share. I mean, you said you're multiple years as being an agent. Started out, I guess, as kind of would you say a part-time gig, and then worked into I don't see you doing anything part-time, but to be honest with you, but
You're very perceptive. I have a hard time with that. I wouldn't say that I started part-time. It just was not something that was required.
right. It was
And
more
then
for you.
It was more for me. It was more, yes, I wanted to bring an income in. I wanted to help people. I wanted to connect with people. I love that. I really feed off of that. I love for people to feel like I helped them. I
You
made
wanted
an
to feel
impact.
important.
Yeah, yeah. COVID got really interesting, that's for sure. So
Uh-huh.
the real estate market just went crazy in a lot of different ways. There, in 2020, in like the I don't even want to say the height of it. It was like when things first got really crazy. I had some FHA buyers.
Couldn't find them a place. Probably
People
nobody
wouldn't-
wanted
people
to
would
deal
not
with it. Yeah.
consider our offer because it said it had an FHA addendum. It was
Wow.
really tough.
You didn't play the game where
People-
you get a conventional offer accepted, then
Switch it.
Oh, oops! Here's our addendum.
I know. Well, if you didn't pick up yet, that's not my style.
That's not the way you do it. That's
not
not
mine-
how
it's
we
not
do
mine
it either.
either,
But it's been done to us multiple times.
And it's like, wow.
And it
dude.
pisses you off. It really does. It's like, come on, man. You knew this all along. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
The bait
If I'm
switch.
working with you, I'm going to be verbal. I'm going to say, dude, you did this on purpose.
Well, we finally found the perfect scenario, and it worked out great. And I feel like whatever was supposed to happen happened. So yeah, so that was tough. So during COVID was really tough. There was a lot of learning we had to do as agents and stay on top of. And so when you say part time, no, I don't think part time would have survived.
Right.
Because things were changing every day.
Right.
And if you weren't in the office, you weren't learning, you weren't reading the new forms, if you weren't learning new negotiation skills and how we had to compete with multiple, offers and over asking and
Plus, let's be honest, at that point in time when you started in the industry, when you started your career in this and made a career change, you didn't have a baby. And now you
have
do.
a baby. It was a lot easier. It was a lot easier then.
Right.
My schedule was very flexible.
Yep.
She had a husband that's near almost a baby.
He traveled.
Just kidding.
He traveled. So I had a lot of flexibility in my schedule.
Good.
So fast forward years later, I'm at home with a brand new baby, and you guys wouldn't fully understand, but that's a really hard transition, and I really
I
struggled.
can't even imagine.
I really struggled. I went from, I was 38 when I had my kid. I had just turned 38, so I had 38 years of doing whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do, full freedom.
To be in lockdown.
No. So I really struggled with that, and I didn't realize until probably 18 months through how, I could verbalize like I'm not okay, and I could say like, hey, I'm just not doing really well, but I thought it was a me thing. I thought I just wasn't the right personality to have a kid.
How
or
many women do you think out there felt that exact same thing?
Probably most. I would guess
Yeah.
probably most.
I say
And-
this all the time, and take this with the grain of salt that I'm going to say it in, but women got the shitty end of the stick all the way around. Like, if we had to put up with 0.5% of the shit that you guys get piled on you, we would fall apart.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But it was hard in a lot of ways, like my body went from one thing to completely a different thing I've never seen before, and like that messes with you.
Oh, man.
That messes with you a lot. And then, like how am I qualified to keep this thing alive? Like I didn't take a test. Who did this?
Is this
Right.
legal?
Who said I can do this?
Right?
Relationship, it's hard on the relationship. It's like I just thought like, okay, I'm not a good fit for this. Like I can't manage this as well as
Second-guessing
other
yourself
people.
all the time?
Yeah, these
Yeah.
other people can do this so much better. Look how easy it is for them. Probably wasn't, but that's
No.
what you see. That's
That
what
was
they
the
show.
that was the face they put on.
We're all good about putting on that, oh, everything's fantastic face.
Yeah, and the other thing I did is I realized, I was single for a lot of years. That my kids or my best friends like now have teenagers, and I went back to all of them and I said, I'm so sorry. I could have supported you a lot better when I had
That's cool that you
flexibility.
recognize that.
In the airports, when I'm trying to struggle with, a baby that can't stand in a car seat and a stroller all by myself, and there's always kind people that help, and thank you, kind people. I was never that person because I didn't understand what they were going through.
Right.
And I feel silly about that,
Well,
looking back. But
Now you know.
I won't ever do that again.
No.
Yeah, so that was really hard. And I did have some clients I was working with, new construction during like that first year of my kid's life. The second year had more active, more things. And then I was just trying to juggle like bringing a babysitter in when I had to. And I didn't want to do it all the time because like I want to raise my kid. And,
Right.
and it's a lot of pressure from a lot of different directions. So January of last year, we put my son in daycare. And that was like instant game changer. Was there guilt? Yeah.
Of course.
But it's like, oh, I can breathe a little bit.
Like you realized that actually was good for you, that you needed
did.
that little bit of space.
I did.
And you stopped beating up on yourself that you actually wanted it.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, like there was all kinds of guilt that go along with it, right? So, anyway, so then sometime mid last year, it went from my job just being kind of like, yeah, here's some extra money, here's some, yeah, okay, great, look, I did that, yay, to, oh my gosh, where's my next paycheck coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a place of desperation, and it was awful, and it was scary, and
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. And then there was just, I mean, I can remember where I was standing, but I woke up one day and I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to live like this. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to, and I can't change where I am, and I can't change what happened, but I can change where we're going, and I can change how I provide a life for my son. It's not going to look the same as I wanted it to, as we intended it to, but it's still going to be a good life.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a great life.
Yep.
And
Good for
I
you.
am in control of that. You talked about power. I am in control of that. So
Yep.
I'm focused on the things that I can control and moving forward and how I move forward.
Love it. Well, congratulations for
She's been busy too. You've
Yeah.
been, you've
I,
Making the
just
change.
had
You've
my,
been
be-
you've
I
been
just had
busy,
my
right?
best year yet.
good for you.
Got a great year lined up.
Good. Love it.
So,
and you're super engaged and busy with your charity, which is incredible.
yeah. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to cram all of the life and work things into daycare hours and every other weekend so that I can give him full attention. So that's my intention. It doesn't always happen, but I'm trying. And so now it's like I am grateful enough that these referral sources that I have and friends and past clients that are sending me business, which I'm so grateful for, I've got to set up some different systems, and that is like glaringly
Obvious.
obvious now.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we were talking a lot about, systems, and
Yep.
so it's something I'm working on. I'm working on time blocking, and my broker, if she sees this, like she's been telling me for a long time, like you got to time block, and I don't know I have a block against time blocking,
Right.
and I don't know. So
A lot of times it's that unknown of, okay, you tell me how to time block, or tell me I should time block, but how do I start? Where do I even begin?
yeah,
It's baby steps. It's as I told you in the office off the air, that's 100% our VIP 50 is all of these things. I told you you're speaking my language because you said the word bucket, which I love because of that book. Just a lot of things. I'm getting everything that you're laying out there, but here's the best part, and I'm just telling you from a dude outside that doesn't know you from Adam. You're figuring it out, and guess what? Your eyes are wide open, and you're open to making those changes. That's the first step.
She referenced something that's kind of a common sentiment, actually, that is that why people have a hard time with time blocking. Garrett talked about this, but it's one of his calling signs, or one of his values that he brings his clients and his relationships, is this ability to go over the top with service, which means now. So whatever's going on right now takes precedence, which means he can't have an organized time block. It's because if he doesn't show up and doesn't answer the call or doesn't answer that service opportunity
He's
right
letting them
now,
down.
he's falling short and letting them down. But that's also not accurate.
That is
I was
not-
gonna
we're
say,
allowed
is
to
that-
have these little boundaries and spaces, but
Yeah.
we can still manage and make it all happen.
but I live a lot like that. Like everything's important and urgent and has to happen right now, and
unless it doesn't.
but then I make a lot of things happen for other people. I don't make those things happen for myself. I don't
Exactly.
hold the same level of
urgency for
urgency
your own. Yeah.
for myself or importance.
Isn't that crazy?
It's
that we
it's
do that?
wild. It's wild.
We become more powerful and we can serve better when we've organized some of that.
And guess what? All those people out there that you're so concerned about, it serves them better, and they'll serve you better by setting those boundaries. Trust me, it's more professional. They know you're basically, I hate to use this word, but you're training them to fit into your schedule.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And they're grateful and thankful for that.
Well, boundaries is a skill I'm
And it's
I'm working
maximizing your
to-
power and flow by
Yes.
creating a little bit of structure.
Well, I think you said, step one, I think, is recognizing I need to do something.
Yep.
And I think step two, which has not always been easy for me, is asking for help, asking for input. Like, hey, I'm not the expert here. Who do I know? Who can I go to? I'm a big collaborator.
Good.
I like to get input on everything, but it's hard. I think there's some degree of I should be able to handle this. I should be able to do this. I should be able to figure this out.
In this exact scenario that we're talking about, I can tell you what step 3 is.
Implementing.
Jump the fuck in. Get in. Just do it. Implementing. You don't have to have, and this is part of our training, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have this perfectly lined up, perfect little freaking game plan. Just do it. Have the faith in yourself that you're smart enough, you're strong enough, that you're going to make it happen no matter what it is. That's where a lot of people have their first and biggest hang up, is just doing it.
Sometimes that's been a fault of mine, though, to see like I'm going to do that, and there's no other way, there's no other option, and sometimes it's not the right thing.
Okay?
Whatever it might be. I competed in a couple bodybuilding competitions, and the second one, I was running stairs for cardio, and I got a saphenous nerve neuroma. So it basically, like, the nerve kind of blew up, kind of like.
Oh, that felt great.
Yeah, I thought actually like I severed a tendon. I didn't know what I did, but it was really, really painful, and it was a while until they diagnosed what it was. So I was just wrapping it up and doing my cardio.
You kept going?
Yeah, I kept going.
Kept irritating it over and over
Because
and
I was
over.
doing that. I signed up. I'm doing that on stage in heels for like an extended period of time. It took everything in me to get down the stairs and off that stage. It was awful.
Wow.
Why didn't I just call it? Why didn't I say, hey, it's not the right time. Let me go heel, come back. But in my head, that was my goal, and I did it. So I see what you're saying.
And you did.
And you did. Yes, you did. But understand, part of all this process and part of what you're doing is we're reading a book right now called Essentialism. And it's all about being able to say no, being able to focus on the most important things and not everything, but the things that are going to make the biggest or have the biggest impact, that are going to serve you the best, that you got to learn. That's part of what this process is. When I say jump in, if somebody calls you up and they want you to go and serve on this thing or that thing, and it just doesn't fit into what you're doing and it's not going to serve you, part of that is saying no, learning to say no. It's a big deal, because in order for you to be the very best and most powerful you have to be able to say no, or you're never gonna have the bandwidth to make it all happen.
Yep.
Every yes is a no to something, and vice versa, right? Like, so it's being clear on where you're going, what you want and need, and what your priorities are. So
And what your goals are, and what they look like, and what's going to help you get to those goals.
my
and
sons
accomplish
who read this the first time, and he kept coming in he's like, I love this book, Dad. You need to read this book, Dad. Because my notorious thing is I just got to do more.
Yes.
I got to pile more. I got to accomplish more.
Well,
And he's obligated to everybody, and he has to go and do this thing because he's obligated to them somehow. And
Go help Colby build a wall.
but Aaron, are you like me, where it's like, hey, I don't actually have anything on the schedule. There's nothing I have to do at this moment. Do you sit and relax, or do you find something? Because I'm like the queen of like, I will find something to do.
I relax.
Oh,
he'll relax.
something else I'm working on.
And that's part of it right there. Like you said, the first whole part of this is recognizing and actually admitting to yourself that that's what it is.
Don't tell anybody else that I have
Okay.
faults, though.
Well.
Yeah.
They're not
You're
many,
just
and
the
guess
average.
what?
You're the average gal. You're just pretty self-critical, is what I'm hearing. You. These are also skills.
I
These
don't
are
like
also,
the word critical
these
very
are
much.
also
Let's say
powers.
self-aware. I'm becoming
There you go.
self-aware.
Love that. Yeah, I like it. So there's just, it's kind of funny, but we all go through our lives and I talk about this all the time in our group meeting, which, by the way, we meet every single morning with our team and read every single morning at 9 a.m. And I've always been a big reader, but it's been more novels, nonfiction, stuff like that. And us starting to do this, holy mackerel, it's powerful. There's a lot of really, 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 really good content out there.
Not just good content, but I think when you're opening yourself up to learning new things, it does something to your
does.
brain.
No question. Yeah. You're looking for the efficiencies. You're looking for a way to grow and impact more. And yeah.
But it's sad how many people out there actually have just basically thrown in the towel, and they're like, "This is the best it's going to ever be," and they just accept.
I'd like to meet that person.
They're all around us.
They're all around you.
The state of our world right now, we have like a social class of victim, take it as it is, everything's happening to me, against me, or the woke, the I'm in power, I'm going to make a change, I'm looking for an opportunity to change and get after it. It is an absolute.
I guess I could see that.
It's
a line in the sand.
There's a lot of people that I've invited to my group that
Media,
just
social,
don't show up.
right.
Even though they say, like, I love, like, when I
And
was
they
just,
need help.
Yeah. I mean, when I just had it as an idea, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, oh, yeah. And then they don't show up. And I invite again. They're like, oh, no, I got this thing.
And they're
I'm like,
miserable and sad and lonely,
yes.
and you.
So I see what you're saying. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's like I said. I mean, I'm using that as basically a metaphor, saying, "Hey, I'm just throwing in the towel because this is as good as it's going to get." So, if this is as good as it's going to get, it's basically okay. I'm accepting it. That's all there is.
But I think there's something really important about who we spend time with and their energy.
Oh yeah,
So-
another big part of our training.
We choose our crowd because the crowd will support whatever weak mindset or whatever powerful thing we're working on. I mean, your crowd literally will hold you to that.
Hey, and it's real simple. Whatever you put out there in the universe is exactly what you're going to attract. Seriously, it's a 100% firm believer of that. And I mean, the bottom line is this: is bringing it all back around to you. I mean, you could have easily, over the last couple of years, went into your grungies and poor picked on me and blah 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 blah. But that doesn't resonate with you. You're a doer. You're a shaker. You're a player in a good way. Meaning, nothing's going to hold you down.
Will you share your inception story where it really you shared Thanksgiving, and then you got into action? I think that's a story that explains
actually-
exactly why you're doing what you're doing with your hive.
Well, let me tell you also, I was raised by a single mom.
Okay.
And she worked really, really hard. And then she eventually just kind of broke down, her body, emotionally.
Right.
And she didn't or was not able to seek help. And it's something I still struggle with today because, I just would love to help her get in a different place. And
Have you invited her to your things? To
I
contribute,
don't
to
think
participate?
She can emotionally. I should ask her. When I was starting the group, I said, "What if somebody, what would you want to know? What would you want to learn? What would you want to see if you came to a meeting like this?" And with her, I was talking specifically about buying a home. I want single parents to know you can buy a home. There are options, and sometimes it's going to be better for you than renting. You're going to have more stability, and that stability for me is really, really important. as a kid, we moved from rental to rental. There was no stability.
Right.
For my child, like I'm
And no growth, zero growth.
Yeah, and I'm so dedicated to keep us in our home where he was born and where he's grown up so far. That's really important for me to have that stability for him. I want to be able to help people where it makes sense to create that stability for their families too. And so I was asking my mom, like, what would you have wanted to know?
That is a powerful why around homeownership.
Yeah, it is.
You're speaking to and appealing to a specific quality and need that you're helping people provide.
It's intangible. It's intangible.
Until you have it, then you realize it is tangible.
Yeah.
By providing that space, you can help someone have that.
So my poor mom, sitting at the kitchen table, she said, you know what? If somebody like you would have talked to me right after I got divorced, I probably had the mental capacity to hear you. She said, now I'm so far removed, like I just know that homeownership is never going to be an option for me. And that's so sad.
That is sad.
That's so sad. She's taken care of. Don't worry, anybody. I got her. So I was raised by a strong woman, and she did what she had to do to take care of us. And that's probably a big part of why I am the way that I am. But,
no question.
Yeah. So kind of where things turned for me really was just like having this awareness that like I can sit here and I can wallow in this sadness and this grief of the life and relationship that I'm losing and the grief of my son's life that he's not going to have the same way that I envisioned for him. And that's so sad. That was heavy. I can wallow in that, and I can think about what could have been or what should have been or what should I have done different, what could I have done different. How do I need to change? What do I need to do better? And those are good things. You know, just having that introspect and see like where do I need to make some improvements or where can I make some improvements. But then really just shifting that mindset to I don't have extra energy and time to spend on that.
Right.
I need to look forward and forward
Yep.
only.
You'll stay
And-
stuck sitting and watching back.
Yeah. And so the idea for
Look how
Hive of-
solid you are for him right now.
most of the time. I have my moments, but
That's okay.
I try.
You get to have those moments.
So the idea of Hive of Hope just came to me, and it was kind of over a funny meme. And there's, you know, another single mom of 4 kids. She's in the lending space, and I said like, hey, we should do something like this. I think it was actually like, let's recreate this video. That'd be so funny. And she's like, yeah, I'm in. And I'm like, hey, like we really like let's talk about this. So we met a couple of times, and like, what do we want this to look like? What are we going to do? Who are we going to bring in for our guest speakers? You know, all those different things. And then it kind of just stalled a little bit, but like it didn't go away. It didn't like it just was waiting. Like I need to do
The
this.
seed was there.
Yeah, and it didn't go away. I'm like I should listen to this.
That's called divine inspiration. You have to do it.
Yeah. So, but I've had people reach out to me from different states, like, hey, I saw your video. Like, what is this? Tell me more about it. And then after my first meetup, he's like, how did that go? I want to know more. I wish there would have been this when I was a single parent 12 years ago, or when he was going through it 12 years ago. So it's yeah. So you brought up Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving was my first holiday without my kid. Oh, the tears might not come this time.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That was really, really hard. I mean, for the first 2 years of his life, 2.5 years of his life, I'd been away from him.
24/7.
Except for 5 nights in his whole life had I been away from him.
Yep.
3 of those he was with his dad, so that's okay.
Right.
So anyway, so fast forward to Thanksgiving of 2024, my first holiday waking up alone without him. Like, I've spent a lot of time alone in my life. Like, I'm okay with that, but this was a different type of lonely.
Right.
It was hard. So reached out to my brother, and I just said, like, I've never felt this alone in my life. And he calls me, and he talks to me, and then just something in the conversation, something clicked in my head. I'm like, I gotta do this. So I get into local Facebook mom group, and I said, hey, I'm headed to the store. Does anybody need any essentials? And just like that, my whole day changed. I went to the store, got some stuff, and I felt better.
Good.
I felt better. Like just the energy change.
Yeah.
Like I changed my energy by reaching out to help other people. I didn't understand how powerful that was. It just was, I guess,
Self-transcendence.
intuition that led me to reach out and try to help. But
We're big on that, and I love that. The giving. Give.
I've always been a big volunteer.
Right.
You mentioned a veteran group. That's near and dear to my heart.
Yep.
Used to volunteer for a local veteran group, but so I like to volunteer. I like to help. I like to be involved. I like to connect people. Like, that energizes me.
She's a perfect candidate for the VIP 50.
I agree. So your group meets the second Tuesday of every month.
Second Tuesday of every month. Right
Okay.
now we're meeting at my real estate office in Draper, right off of Bangor.
Can you give an address?
If I knew it off the top of my head,
Okay.
I could.
Reach out to us. Well, if you want to participate, reach out to us.
We'll also put links to your group in our notes here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, we're definitely looking to grow, and I want to help as many people as I can.
This
That's what
does
this is all
does
about.
reach a few people, and we want them to be able to come back to you because there's a need for this.
Yeah. So it's right now we're meeting at the Realty One Group office right off of Bangor. It's right there, kind of across the street from America First Credit Union, off of Bangor. There. It's the second Tuesday of every month. We do 6 to 8 p.m. I do have a babysitter that comes in, so I wanted to remove that roadblock.
Yeah.
Because
So
I
smart.
know scheduling
Yeah.
is tight. So the kids are safe and they do a craft and different things in a space right by you, so you get to come and focus on what we're trying to do, and your kids are right there. And mine is notorious for coming in and checking in like, "Hey, Mom, hi, baby."
Yeah. So all you single parents out there, doesn't matter who you are.
What's this upcoming February? Do you have a speaker planned? Is it
We
already?
have a therapist coming. We're going
Okay.
to talk about co-parenting tips and
Okay.
communication, which
Wow.
I think is important. And
Way important.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
super intentional, very productive, and it's applicable to what we're all dealing with in that realm.
And I think it's important to note too. Like, some people will say like, "Oh, it's a single parent group. Like, you're going to bash men." Like, no. Like, I've had like 40% men in every group so far, and it's not. We really don't even talk about like why we're here, what we went through, or what my scenario is. Like,
Right.
it doesn't come up. Like, we're talking about, here's some skills to help you move forward. Here's some skills to help you in your day-to-day life, like breath work. Just take a minute and breathe. Let your kids see you stop and breathe.
Right. Yeah. Love it.
So cool.
No, man. I hope that some of our listeners out there that are single parents will really take this on and not only support it, but actually go and participate, because that's just as important as supporting it. Because, like you said, we all need it in some fashion or another. We're humans. We thrive when we have our tribes and our groups and where we feel important, where we feel included. It's important.
And I think that is the most important aspect of this, is just like knowing you're not alone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you were saying earlier, you're sitting there in the middle of it going, am I the only one that this is happening to? And that's not the case. It's big out there. Just the human touch, the human connection, of knowing that you're important to somebody, even if it's one person. It's really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So, well, good on you. I'm so happy that we had you come in the studio. It's like I said, your energy is awesome, and I'm stoked for you.
Thank
I
you.
think you're going to have an amazing year, and anything we can do to assist you, whether it's with the VIP 50 or supporting your charity, we're in, 100% in.
Thank you.
So we're pretty much out of time. We've been rocking and rolling here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And
Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you would like to? We've missed it all with that. Anyway, anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
But
Any fun new listings that you want to talk about?
Thank you guys so much for having me.
of course,
I have 2 listings coming up, actually.
Let's
I've got
hear about 'em.
one in Sandy. We should be live by the end of next week. It's a single-family home in the River Oaks community, so it parallels River Oaks Golf Course. Has a cool little clubhouse, pool,
13th
things like that.
and 86 or 9. Where is that?
Right off of 90th and like 3rd West.
Oh, Oh, okay, okay. On the west side of the,
on the west side of the golf course.
which is a cool little pocket.
It
If
is.
anybody hasn't been
It
over there,
is.
that's actually a really cool little pocket.
Freeway access because you can do 90. It's just right there. You
Yep.
can jump down to 114th. Like it's
Right.
but it's a quiet little community. It's so cool. Main level, primary bedroom, 3 bedrooms upstairs, plus an office space that's counted as a bedroom. That would make it a great office. So it's a really great house. Two car garage, and then another one in Orem. It's going to be coming up here in the next.
What's your
couple
price
weeks.
point on that first one?
660.
Roughly. Okay.
Yep, and then the
Great-
second one
great value.
is 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath in Orem. It's on somewhere around a 1/4 acre, fully fenced yard. So that
Quarter
one's-
acre, that's a big lot.
Yeah, that one we're going to be like 540.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael, exciting.
It is exciting.
it is.
I know. We're still in January and things are happening.
I have a closing today.
Yeah. All righty, guys. So thank you so much. Have a fantastic week or weekend, and